Welcome to Daily Dose of Hebrew Weekend Edition. We're glad you've joined us today. We are looking at the accent patterns today for 1 Samuel 3:21. Let's read the passage together as we begin. Vayosef Adonai lehera'o veshilo, ki nigla Adonai el Shemuel beshilo bidvar Adonai. Now, with the reading under our belts, let's look at the translation together. And the Lord added to a seeing, or the Lord added a vision in Shiloh. The idea of adding a vision here is that the Lord appeared again, or the Lord appeared a second time, something of that nature. For the Lord was revealed to Samuel at Shiloh by the word of the Lord. So there's our translation. So now let's begin finding the accents. First, let's look for the major breaks in the verse. The major break at the end of the verse is the Sof Pasuk and Saluk combo here. And the Sof Pasuk, remember, marks the ends of verses, and then the Saluk falls on the word immediately preceding the Sof Pasuk. The Sof Pasuk here governs the whole verse, and then the Saluk governs the segment up to the Athnach. So next, let's find the Athnach, and it is here. So we now have our two major lines, or our two major breaks, I suppose. So I want to break these up a little bit to see the separation. So let's move things around. There we go. So the format we have now is the Athnach segment on the first line, and then the Saluk segment occupying the second and third lines. In the Athnach segment on the first line, we want to find the near subordinate disjunctive accent, and here it is the tifka. Next, we would find the far subordinate disjunctive accent, but the segment is so small that we don't have one. So we are done with the Athnach segment as far as finding the major breaks, and we have a break here after Adonai. Now, this break simply sets off the subject predicate from the object in the sentence, and we can mark those. In the second part of the Athnach segment, we have a conjunctive accent on lehera'o, and so these two constituents, lehera'o, veshilo, these two constituents are read together. Now, they represent the object and then a prepositional modifier, so they're not a true construct chain, but syntactically they are joined. Now, in the second and third lines, we now have the Saluk segment. Now, the first accent we want to find here, again, is the tifka. It's the near subordinate disjunctive accent for the Saluk. Now, within the tifka segment, which here is the middle line, we have some oddities. The hierarchy still is intact as it relates to the accents, but we don't get the far subordinate disjunctive zakef katon here. And what we do get is the near subordinate of the tifka, which is the tebir. So we've kind of moved down a level in the hierarchy, but it's still subordinate to the tifka. And the other one, we have the tebir, and then the other near subordinate accent we get here is actually the near subordinate for the zakef, even though we don't have the zakef, and that is the pashta. Now, since we don't have the zakef, this pashta is a bit odd because it's not normally subordinate to the tifka as it seems to be here. Now, the pashta and the tebir are both equal weight in the accent hierarchy, and so it may be that the pashta is substituting here for another accent, or it may be that they are just intended to be equal in disjunctive weight here. Within the ground clause as a whole, the pashta breaks the predicate from the subject, and then the tebir marks off the main clause from the prepositional phrase indicating the location of the vision. So we can indicate the prepositional phrase there and then give us the small break. So in the Saluk segment, we would get the full translation like this: For the Lord was revealed to Samuel, there's our main clause, at Shiloh by the word of the Lord. So that's going to wrap it up for today's Daily Dose of Hebrew, and that will also wrap up our study of the accents in 1 Samuel 3. I hope that this has been helpful for you. If you want to study the accents further, I would recommend to you Russell Fuller's newest grammar, Biblical Hebrew Syntax. It's published by Kriegel. And if you go to that book and Begin on page 351. You'll see his chapter on accents, a rather nice treatment of these things. Pretty technical, but well done. That's going to do it for today. Thanks for joining us, and until next time, shalom.